here about a fight that's coming up on New Year's in Japan. Uh, Joshua Franco from San Antonio, Texas, is going up against Kazuto Ioka in Japan. This fight is being held on New Year's in Japan. In Japan, there's a tradition where they have fights. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. Ioka fought Donny Nietes on New Year's there in Japan. Joshua Franco is 18, 1 and 2. He's either 26 or 27 years old. He's going up against 33-year-old three division champion Kazuto Ioka. His record is 29 and 2. He has a couple losses on his record, one against Donny Nietes, and then another fight. Joshua's fight also comes a few years back versus, I think his name was Lucas Fernandez in Puerto Rico. They talked about, Roberts talked about that fight in the past, and Josh was just kind of slumped over. It was up to the referee's discretion to stop that fight. But since then, he's had a trilogy with Oscar Negrete, where he had one win and two draws. And then he's had the trilogy with Maloney, where he had the win in the bubble in Las Vegas on a top ranked card. He was a Golden Boy fighter at the time, and he had that he was up against all odds. It was a top ranked card. It was a top ranked event. Um, and he was going in as a huge underdog. He got the huge upset in that win. They rematched. There was a very controversial rematch where there was talks about a headbutt or a punch closing Franco's eye in the first or second round, and then finally the trilogy in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where Franco ultimately won there as well. That was Franco. That was Franco's last fight. So he's been out of the ring since August of last year. So you could say close to a year and a half. But I did visit RGBA in September, and Josh has been in camp since September. So he was in camp all of November through Thanksgiving. He's going to be in camp in December through Christmas. Today's the 24th, and he's going to fly out to Japan and fight um, against a four division champion Kazuto Ioka. I did some research on. I watched a couple of his fights. One that stuck out was a fight a year or two ago against an undefeated fighter, Tanaka. That was a very good fight. Tanaka started very aggressively. It let me know a lot about the type of fighter that Ioka is. He's very disciplined, keeps his hands up, fights off the jab. The jab is very important in his game. Throws a 1-2, loves throwing the left hook to the body. So that let me know a lot about Ioka. He can fight going backwards. He can fight in the pocket. He can fight moving forward. But very patient. Very hard to break his concentration. Tanaka just threw everything at him early, and then just kind of lost his focus. And through his aggression, Ioka was able to counter him and ultimately stop him in the eighth round. So I think in this fight between Josh Franco and Ioka is the more um, experienced fighter. He has more fights. He's already a multiple division champion. Um, so this is a great unification match. Bam Rodriguez said in the post fight if he wanted to fight Chocolatito or Gallo Estrada, and he said no, those were fights for my brother. So Josh Franco has to get this win here in Japan again against all odds, going into the enemy's territory, flying over to Japan, having to win um, in the opponent's hometown, just like he did versus Maloney. Pull a huge upset. Ioka is a slight favorite in this fight, so it's not as wide a margin as it was for the first Maloney Joshua Franco fight, but he is in Japan. So in order for him to get in line for those Gallo Estrada Chocolatito fights, um, he has to get through Ioka. He has to bring those two belts to the table in order to go for the WBC belt. Um, now, the age difference, I think Ioka is 33. Um, Josh Franco is either 26 or 27. Started pro as a 19 years old. Um, there at RGBA Riverside with Robert Garcia. This is a great fight. I'm gonna break it down a little bit more. I have done my film. I did film study on two fights. The Tanaka fight, because Tanaka was either 15 and 0 or 16 and 0 going into that fight. So that was a really good fight. And then I watched Ioka's last fight, which was against Donny Nietes, the second fight, which is his last fight, and that one was a good one as well. So I'm gonna break those down a little bit more. Uh, just off the top of my head, Josh Franco is in my opinion, is a volume puncher. Um, he has a high guard, very similar to Virgil Ortiz, but when Virgil fights, he only moves his head off the line a little bit, and Joshua Franco, he likes to bend at the waist a little bit more, kind of like Robert Garcia trains. You know, if you ever see Robert in the corner telling his fighters what to do, you always see him shift side to side. So, and I think Joshua Franco does that. Has a high guard, but does move his head off the line. Um, he has power. He has 8 knockouts. I think we learned that in the first Maloney fight when he dropped him in the 11th. He has the ability to drop his opponents. Um, so the power is there. I'll break it down a little bit more um, in another video, but I'm super excited about this fight. It's a unification fight. It's a fight that the winner could easily go up against Chocolatito or Gallo Estrada. Bam Rodriguez said he's already going down to 112 where he can fight Sonny Edwards or he can fight possibly El Rey Martinez, Julio Cesar Rey Martinez. So I've done my film study. I'm gonna break it down a little bit more. Just off the top of my head, Ioka is very disciplined. Uh, the jab is very important in his fights. Has a very strong 1-2. Loves going left hook to the body. He loves that left hook to the body. I could tell that from the Tanaka fight. Um, Very strong mentally, and he's a very good counter puncher. He's a very good counter. It's gonna be a very good chess match between Joshua Franco and Ioka. But like I said, I'm gonna do a little bit more studying and try to. Those are just things right off the top of my head. I'll do another video in the future. But like this is a very important fight. PBC was really good at putting on fights during Thanksgiving, where a lot of families are home. We're celebrating Thanksgiving. You know, there's a lot of people in front. There's a lot of people in front of the TV, so you can get a lot of high ratings. PBC was very, very good at that. Hey, what's up, Black and Brown? And this is a very good opportunity for a lot of us that are sitting at home, having some vacation time to watch a very good fight. We'll see who can broadcast it. But like I said, it's gonna be a fight New Year's for Japan. So that's a very different hour here for the United States. So like I said, I'm gonna do a little bit more film study, and then break it down just a little bit more in detail. So Joshua Franco versus Kazuto Ioka on New Year's Day, Japan. See you guys later. Have a good one. God bless.